Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi!
Hello friends. Today's video should run alongside the Titus character showcase. As you'll probably be aware by now, Space Marine 2 and Tacticus are crossing over for the release of Demetrian Titus, the iconic Space Marine lieutenant. If you haven't seen it already, I would recommend checking out the dedicated character showcase that I have done for Titus. This video is running separately, as Tacticus are introducing a brand new game mode called Survival Mode. In this video I will be going over Survival Mode, explaining how it works, and giving you some strategies to success. It remains to be seen if this will be a recurring release event. I really like it, so please let Snowprint know if you do too. They read the comments in my videos, so share your thoughts there. Let's dive straight in. Clicking on the banner in-game immediately takes you to a simple initial explanation of the event. Play the mode to earn points. These points convert to Oath currency, which lets you open crates full of rewards. You essentially fight against a horde of Tyranids that becomes increasingly more difficult as the waves progress. There are the usual offers and a 10-day celebration calendar to run alongside the event. The Oath currency opens these chests called Coffers of Ultramar. Inside the coffers you get Titus character shards along with some other goodies that increase with value as you progress through the chests. There are also missions that earn you event currency, as well as special survival missions at the bottom of the screen. Completing these missions gives Titus, the story character, a permanent 4% stat boost for the event. Complete all 10 of these missions and Titus gets 40% stronger. In terms of the survival event itself, true to the Space Marine game, the only deployable characters are the Space Marines themselves. Players start at 2 characters with 4 maximum tokens and a token regeneration time of 24 hours and 1 minute. The event runs over 10 days, so you'll get a total of 11 tokens for the entire event. Clicking on the Play Survival button takes you to this screen where you can see the event structure. You can see the enemies for each level as well as the power-ups available. It's worth mentioning that the power-ups last for the entire battle, not just one round in this game mode. The reinforcement power-ups will make more sense once we go through the gameplay. Your characters start off at low rarity, and as you progress through the waves, your character rarity cap increases. The idea is for your characters to roughly match the rarity of the oncoming waves of attackers. As long as you keep on top of killing the Tyranids and don't fall too far behind, your characters should be in a position for the fight to always be close. As you progress through the levels, you'll get more currency that opens more chests. You can continue to earn currency until defeating level 9. After that point, the rewards are for some legendary books and essentially bragging rights and leaderboard position. The final wave here is basically impossible to defeat, so fair warning. Let's look at the gameplay next. You start off with 5 Space Marines and fight against some low-level Tyranid Gaunts. Your units start off at a similarly low rarity, and as you defeat Tyranids, the score bar starts to track up. Completing power-ups in this game mode does not provide your units with a temporary shield like in Tournament Arena. The Reinforcements power-up essentially gives you more characters to call in when your original starters die. You can see that after collecting one such reinforcement power-up, we get a point up on the top right of the screen, to indicate that there is now one ally in reserve. I've positioned Incissus in a way to demonstrate how this works. Now when Incissus dies, we get an option of 3 characters to bring into battle. Once Azrael enters, you can see the reinforcement marker on the top right is now back down to 0. You basically battle through the waves of enemies with your characters and collect power-ups to tip the scales of battle in your favour. The rest of the power-ups are pretty easy to understand, but there is one power-up that also lets you reuse your active ability. For characters like Bellator, this can be essential to flood the battlefield with summons. Let's look at some strategy analysis next. Broadly, I think that there are 2 strategies here. In strategy 1, you bring your best characters in from the outset. Try to evenly spread out the power-ups you give them and then survive as long as you can. Once your main characters die, then you can bring in some reinforcements, but these will typically be a notch below your starting team. This strategy is okay, but falls apart in the manner you saw in the gameplay video. Because your characters are capped against the waves of oncoming Tyranids, there is a chance of an unexpected death early on. In the gameplay you saw me lose Incisus, the only healer character available for this event. Since you don't get total freedom in terms of the reinforcements to bring in, sometimes you have to bring in a slightly lackluster substitute. For example, I would have loved to bring in Brother Jaeger or maybe Calgar, but instead I brought in Azrael. The second strategy I think has slightly more appeal. In this example, you stack up all of your buffs on a single character or maybe two characters to make them as strong as possible. I have liked buffing Titus, not only because he is the quest character, but also because his base stats are further increased by completing missions. The rest of the squad isn't that important, but as they fall, and they will fall, you can start to bring in the heavy hitters and really useful characters like Incisus or Bellator. Again, there is a bit of a lottery here because you aren't guaranteed to get Incisus from subsequent reinforcements, but I think it's better than randomly losing him early on like you saw in the gameplay. The added bonus of stacking up the buffs on a single character is that in the later stages you have to fight through Tyranid warriors. These warriors have the reinforced hive armor buff that is quite annoying to fight through. However, if you have characters that deal a lot of damage and hits, then this passive ability of the Tyranid warriors becomes relatively inconsequential. I've listed on screen the characters that I think will be best for this event and the reasons why. Bellator provides a lot of summons and has the Mark 10 Gravis trait. This is especially good against the Tyranids who typically have a low pierce ratio and means that Bellator is well suited to tanking. Bellator is also the perfect character to take the power up that recharges your active, as this lets you summon all over again. Matineo is similar to Bellator in the sense that he also creates a lot of summons to distract the enemy, and I quite like him in this mode. Incisus should also be an obvious option to bring. He is the only healing character available to the Space Marines at the moment, and the ability to revive your units will prove invaluable. Calgar is a legendary character, but if you have him, he will provide a lot of value to the team. He shares the Mark 10 Gravis armor with Bellator and also increases the damage of your own units. Remember that the way that healing is calculated is damage multiplied by hits, so if Incisus is next to Calgar, then you get a larger heal. Brother Burchard rounds out the top 5 for me. He is tanky and also does area of effect ranged damage. Okay, I'll maybe sign off there. The event was fun for me to play and a refreshing change to the hero release event unlock method. If you enjoyed it too, then please let Snowprint know in the comments. I've just started a Patreon for my channel. If you are fortunate enough to be in a position to support me and my content, I'd love if you could check it out. If not, I've left my refer a friend code here on screen. If you are a newer player, you can enter it and earn yourself 100 Blackstone. It is single use though, so choose who you support carefully. Bye for now.
Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi.